For 6 hours, Indonesian revolutionary forces managed to seize control of the city, defying the powerful Dutch military. This event, later known as the Yogyakarta General Offensive or Serangan Umum 1 Maret 1949, became one of the most important turning points in Indonesia's struggle for independence. But what really happened that day? Was it a military victory or more of a political strategy? And why did this short-lived offensive leave such a long-lasting mark in history? Today, let's explore the history of the Yogyakarta General Offensive objectively, empirically, and from a scientific perspective, so that we can truly understand its significance in the Indonesian independent movement. Historical background: the Indonesian struggle for independence. After the proclamation of independence on August 17, 1945, Indonesia faced years of struggle against Dutch attempts to re-establish colonial control. Between 1945 and 1949, a series of military and diplomatic confrontations took place, often referred to as the Indonesian Nation Revolution. Yogyakarta became the center of the Republican government after Jakarta was recaptured by Dutch forces. Leaders such as Sukarno, Muhammad Hatta, and General Sudirman coordinated the resistance from the city. However, in December 1948, the Dutch launched Operation Cry, capturing Yogyakarta and arresting top Indonesian leaders, including Sukarno and Hatta. The Dutch wanted to prove to the world that the Republic no longer existed. But the Indonesian struggle did not end. Guerrilla fighters, led by commanders such as Jenderal Sudirman, who continued resistance despite being ill, carried on the fight from remote areas. Planning the offensive. The Dutch believed that with the arrest of the leaders, the Republic was finished, but Indonesian military commanders had another plan to prove that the Republic was still alive and capable of organizing coordinated attacks. The idea of a general offensive in Yogyakarta was initiated by several key figures. Sri Sultan Hamengkubuwono IX, the Sultan of Yogyakarta, who secretly supported the Republic. Colonel Abdul Haris Nasution, then commander of the Java military forces. Lieutenant Colonel Soeharto, commander of Brigade 10th in Yogyakarta. The offensive had two main goals. First, military demonstration, showing that Indonesian forces could still strike at the heart of Dutch-controlled territory. Second, political impact, sending a strong message to the international community, especially the United Nations, that the Republic still existed and had popular support. The operation was carefully planned to strike at dawn when Dutch troops were less prepared. The offensive, March 1st, 1949. At 5:30 a.m. on March 1st, 1949, Indonesian forces launched a surprise attack on Yogyakarta. Around 10,000 fighters, a mix of regular troops and guerrillas, participated in the operation. For nearly 6 hours, Indonesian troops managed to control large parts of the city. Dutch forces were caught off guard, and several strategic points fell into Indonesian hands. Some key events: Indonesian fighters attacked Dutch garrisons across the city simultaneously. Communication centers, police stations, and Dutch posts were taken. Civilians in Yogyakarta cheered, offering food and support to the fighters. However, the offensive was not meant to permanently retake Yogyakarta. By midday, Dutch reinforcements arrived, and Indonesian forces withdrew according to a plan to avoid heavy casualties. Although temporary, the operation succeeded in its objective. It proved to the world that the Republic was not defeated. International impact. The Yogyakarta General Offensive gained massive political significance. News of the offensive spread internationally through radio broadcasts and foreign correspondence. The event played a key role in pressuring the Dutch during negotiations at the United Nations. It showed that the Republic still had broad support and could not simply be erased. Historians note that this offensive helped pave the way for the Rum-Van Rooyen Agreement in May 1949, which eventually led to the withdrawal of Dutch forces and the recognition of Indonesian sovereignty in December 1949. A scientific historical analysis. From an empirical perspective, we can analyze the Yogyakarta offensive using three dimensions. First, strategic dimension. It disrupted the Dutch narrative of total control and showcased Indonesian capacity for organized operations. Second, psychological dimension. It boosted morale among fighters and civilians, proving that independence was achievable. Third, diplomatic dimension. It influenced UN discussions, making it harder for the Dutch to justify their colonial claims. Thus, while militarily limited, the offensive played a crucial role in shaping perceptions, which is often just as important as battlefield victories in revolutionary wars. Legacy of the offensive. Today, the Yogyakarta General Offensive is remembered as a symbol of courage, unity, and strategic brilliance. In 1979, the Indonesian government officially recognized March 1st as the day of the Yogyakarta Offensive. Monuments and museums, such as the Monumen Serangan Umum 1 Maret, stand in Yogyakarta as reminders of the event. Every year, commemorations take place to honor the fighters who participated. The offensive remains an important part of Indonesian historical memory, balancing between fact, symbolism, and national pride. The Yogyakarta General Offensive of March 1st, 1949 lasted only 6 hours, but in those hours, it reshaped the course of Indonesian history. It showed the world that the Republic of Indonesia was alive, that its people refused to be silent, and that independence was more than a dream. It was a reality within reach. While debates continue over its true military impact, one thing is certain. The offensive became a turning point in the struggle for sovereignty, proving that sometimes the power of symbolism and morale can outweigh sheer military strength.